the flickering glow of a lone street lamp by an alley, a body lay in the shallow pool of water, its eyes wide open, staring at nothing, lifeless, yet somehow full of unspeakable horror. The hands were clenched, knuckles white, as if the victim had tried to fight against something far more terrifying than any human opponent. Blood traced dark rivulets from deep, precise wounds across the chest, as though whoever had done this understood anatomy, understood how to end life with surgical, chilling efficiency. No struggle marks, no signs of robbery, no footprints beyond the rain-softened ground. Nothing. Only silence. And the question, who could do this? Our story begins in a quiet suburb, just outside the city. A tidy street lined with small shops, modest homes, the occasional neon sign buzzing dully in the foggy night air. It was November 12, 2008, shortly after midnight. The victim, 34-year-old Dr. Elaine Harper, a rising forensic geneticist at the city hospital, was returning home from a late shift. Intelligent, reserved, deeply respected by colleagues for her work on criminal DNA. The very thing that would later seal her fate. She lived alone in a modest apartment, 2 blocks from the crime scene, with only a cat and a few potted plants for company. Few friends, no known enemies, no high-profile cases under her name, at least nothing publicly. To neighbors, she was simply the quiet scientist lady, always polite, always rushing in and out, clutching a leather briefcase full of research notes. On nights like this, the street was otherwise deserted, the shops closed, the low hum of the city far enough that even passing traffic seemed muffled. It was a night like many others, until it wasn't. Close by, beneath the flickering street lamp that bathed the alley in weak yellow light, a figure watched the rain. Tall, lean, movement careful and controlled, the silhouette blurred by the drizzle, shifting slightly as though adjusting posture, waiting. The figure wore a long dark coat, hood up, face obscured, hands gloved. No one saw them. No one heard anything. Dr. Harper stepped into the alley, keys in one hand, briefcase in the other. Just a normal route home. Then came the strike. To swift, precise blows. One to the back of the head to disorient. A second, deeper, targeted straight to the heart. She barely had time to gasp before falling. The body collapsed against the damp concrete, rain mingling with dark blood. The hooded figure lowered the briefcase slowly, as if pausing to savor the silence, then retrieved it, stepped over the body and vanished into the misty night, leaving behind only the soft patter of rain and a world that would never be the same. At 0:14, a lone neighbor heard the muffled noise of something heavy falling against the alley's sidewall, a metal briefcase hitting the ground. He glanced from his window. Nothing. No one. Shrugged and turned back to his phone. Minutes later, walking his dog along the main street, another neighbor noticed the dim glow by the alley. Curious, he approached and recoiled at the sight. He dialed 911. By 0:22, the first patrol car arrived. Flashing lights briefly illuminated the wet pavement, red and blue, casting long shadows over the body. The officer's voice crackled over the rain. One down, blood everywhere. Looks bad. By 0:25, paramedics arrived, but Dr. Harper was gone. No pulse. No response. By 0:30, the crime scene was sealed off, yellow tape flapping in the drizzle. Silence settled again. But this time, it rang heavy with dread. Inside her apartment, detectives found no forced entry, the door locked from the inside. Windows shut tight. No sign of struggle. Her purse was untouched. Her computer left on, screensaver blinking. Her cat sat on the windowsill, calm, oblivious. Nothing seemed missing. Nothing seemed disturbed. Just gone. Word spread quickly. Forensic DNA scientists killed in brutal stabbing. A city on edge. Journalists descended. Headlines blared. DNA genius murdered. Who killed the killer's killer? Some whispered rumors. Had she cracked a major cold case? Had someone tried to stop her from exposing secrets? The police, cautious, released little. Under investigation, they said. The public waited. Tension built. The fear settled like a layer of cold ash. At the station, The lead detective, hardened veteran detective Marcus Reed, paced under the fluorescent lights, eyes etched with fatigue. This wasn't a typical homicide. Too clean, too precise. This was targeted. Personal? But why? No sign of robbery. No message left behind. Only a neatly clipped file folder missing from her briefcase. Evidence suggested the killer had taken only that. Not jewelry. Not tech. Not money. Just that folder. And the briefcase. Everything else was ignored. Detective Reed ordered K9 units, canvassed the neighborhood, checked surveillance cameras from nearby shops. 2 cameras had blind spots. Others only captured blurry silhouettes. Nothing definitive. Rain had washed away any footprints near the body. Witnesses minimal. One person said they saw a shape hunched beneath the street lamp for a moment, then vanish. Their statement was shaky. I thought it was just a trash bag at first. Another recalled hearing a soft metallic clink, like a briefcase dropping, but couldn't place a time or direction. Forensics turned over everything. Gloves, none found. Fibers, nothing distinctive. Fingerprints, none. DNA samples, none. It was as though the killer had never existed, except for the body and the missing file. Detectives grew frustrated. They rightly suspected this was no random act. Someone had done this deliberately, with cold determination, with precision, with purpose. Meanwhile, rumors among her colleagues swirled. Dr. Harper had recently been working on a high-profile cold case involving a series of unsolved sexual assaults from 10 years ago. A serial predator dubbed the Midnight Butcher by gossiping tabloids. DNA at several crime scenes had never yielded a match, until Elena's recent breakthrough. She claimed she found a genetic anomaly. A minute fragment of DNA unlike anything previously catalogued. A tiny, almost invisible genetic signature she believed could link all attacks to a single man. She had told only her superiors, no one else. She believed she had cracked the case wide open. She planned to submit the findings to the court within days. The files missing from her briefcase were believed to be the only copy. Suddenly, the crime didn't look like a random murder. It looked like a silencing. Someone didn't want those findings to get out. Someone had killed the scientist before she could expose the monster. Inside the morgue, forensic pathologists confirmed his suspicions. The stab wounds were consistent with a standard surgical knife, not a kitchen knife. The blade was thin, sharp, knife pointed, like a scalpel. Wounds clean, precise. She had not bled externally much, most damage inside. The killer had known anatomy, knew how to kill swiftly, efficiently. Had access to surgical tools, maybe a medical background. Maybe someone from the hospital, maybe someone very close. Detective Reed widened the net. Hospital staff were interviewed. Security logs examined. Entry cards checked. One nurse's card had been used 5 minutes before the estimated time of death. But the nurse claimed she was in surgery at the time, with dozens of witnesses. The surgical room logs confirmed that she and her team were in a live operation at exactly that time. So that alibi seemed solid. Next, a hospital cleaner whose shift ended just 20 minutes before the murder. She had no record of re-entry. Her gloves found washably clean. Another staff member, a visiting tech from an outside lab, seen entering the hospital that evening. He claimed he was there to deliver reagents. His visit logged, but no one remembered seeing him after leaving. The delivery van had left just before the rain started. The briefcase, not found in van. Could he have taken it? Maybe. Something felt off. Detective Reed had his doubts. Something about the tech's nervous gestures, the way he avoided eye contact, but nothing concrete. No direct evidence. DNA, which should have helped pin him, turned up nothing. The file, gone. The briefcase vanished. It was as though the killer had erased themselves from existence. The city grew uneasy. Media clamored for answers. Protests erupted outside the hospital. People demanded justice for the brilliant scientist whose life was snuffed out just as she neared a breakthrough. The hospital released a press statement. "We are cooperating fully with authorities." But inside corridors, whispers swirled. Security tightened. People looked over their shoulders, the sense of safety shattered. Weeks passed. Dead ends piled up. Offers of reward for information. Anonymous tips, most false. Some incoherent ramblings. One tip led to an abandoned warehouse, a mile from the crime scene. Inside, overturned boxers, half-empty bottles, a discarded surgical mask. No body, no evidence, nothing that linked to Dr. Harper. Forensic teams dusted the mask rid of DNA. The warehouse floor had been scrubbed, almost methodically. Whoever had been there had known what they were doing, knew how to clean up, as though trained. Then came the shock. Almost a month after the murder, a small town 150 miles away reported a break-in at a medical storage facility. Among the missing items, a set of standard-issue surgical knives, the exact type used in hospital operating rooms. Serial numbers obscured. Police found traces of rainwater inside the storage room, and on the floor, a single fiber, dark coat fabric. It matched nothing in the database, but when stretched under microscopic analysis, tiny fragments of skin, hair, none matched any known individual. Forensic labs across the state tested nothing. It was as though the donor never existed, a ghost. Detective Reed's task force dug deeper. They checked travel records. The unnamed lab tech had no record of travel. Yet, hotel receipts appeared under a slightly altered name, paid in cash, for a motel close to that storage facility, all dated the night before the break-in. The credit card records, phone logs all clean, the receipts, paper tossed in the trash bin of a dumpster outside the motel. For thousands of tips and thousands of hours, the case remained stubbornly unresolved. The killer left no fingerprint, no recognizable DNA, no credible witness, no calls demanding ransom, no confession, just mystery and fear. Months turned into a year. The case cooled, but not completely. Public interest never died. Amateur sleuths, bloggers, forums, all discussing theories. Some believed a secret society of vigilante scientists had silenced her. Others thought a powerful politician implicated by the DNA was behind it. Others whispered something darker, that the criminal network responsible for the assaults had discovered she was close to exposing them, that they struck back. Hard, brutal, effective. In the turmoil, paths crossed. A young freelance reporter dug up surveillance tapes from nearby traffic cams. A dark van, license plate obscured, pulling into the alley just minutes before the murder, idling for 2 minutes, then leaving at speed. The sheeting rain hid the plate, the driver's face, but tire tread pattern was unique. Investigators traced similar vans sold to a single leasing company. That company, in turn, leased to a shell corporation registered overseas. Money routed through offshore accounts. That lead fizzled to the shell company, dissolved, the van never seen again. Then, nearly 2 years after the killing, an envelope arrived at the station, no return address, postmarked from an untraceable rural mailbox. Inside a single sheet of paper, handwritten and neat, almost clinical script. You wasted your time. The truth died with her. Underneath, a crude drawing of a skull. That was all. No fingerprints. No DNA. No signature. Just a sentence. And more questions. Worse than before. The sense that the killer was watching. That the killer was still out there. Untouchable. Unknown. Years passed. The files for the case archived away. Cold case, but for those who knew, for those who remembered, the shadow remained. Sometimes a night shift guard at the hospital claimed to see a figure from the corner of his eye late at night, leaving a lab with a briefcase. Nothing ever confirmed. Nurses talked of unexplained rustling in supply closets. Cameras occasionally flickered in sterile halls. But nothing tangible. Nothing charged. Nothing prosecuted. The killer walked free. Today, the only memory of Dr. Elaine Harper lies in a small, tarnished brass plaque mounted on the wall of the hospital corridor. In memory of Dr. E. Harper, devoted scientist, lost too soon. Occasionally someone glances at it, whispers a prayer. Others hurry past, engrossed in their phone's life Maupassant, the city forgets, but the vault remembers. So I leave you with this. Somewhere out there, under soft rain or silent street lamps, a person who holds unimaginable knowledge of who we are in our very DNA walks free. Maybe blending in, maybe watching, maybe planning. The files she carried, unrecoveré, the identity she hoped to unmask, still hidden in shadows. The killer. A ghost? You've heard the facts. You've felt the silence. Now I ask you, do you think justice will ever come for Dr. Elaine Harper? Do you believe that tiny piece of DNA changed everything or doomed her? Who stands behind this, and will they ever be found? If you want to dive deeper, leave your thoughts below. Don't forget to hit subscribe and ring the bell, because in the Midnight Crime Vault, silence only hides deeper darkness.